I'd like to share my first 90 days with you, also known as the entry plan into Lowell High School. And this information has already been shared with our staff, and so now we are prepared to share it with the school community at large. Next slide. This is SFUSD's mission, and we are aligned to that, making sure that each and every student has quality instruction and equitable support required to thrive in the 21st century. Next. So these are all of the goals for the principal's entry plan. And this was compiled based upon my conversations with the superintendent at the time, the assistant superintendent of high schools, as well as with former principals of the school, admin council, PTSA, alumni associations, and student leadership body. And so these are the goals that were set forth: to provide a smooth transition of leadership coming into the school, also developing mutual respect and trusting collaborative relationship with all of the stakeholders, creating opportunities to listen, look, and learn with all of the stakeholders so that we can address the continuous improvement of all students together as a school community. Also to clarify the vision and strategic plan for the school. And finally, to identify and execute activities that would ensure the success of the close of this school year and a smooth opening for the next school year. Next slide. So the entry plan process that was used for my engagement with the school community involved these four themes: formal and informal conversations with all stakeholders. They're listed here. That's everyone who has anything to do with Lowell High School. Second, of course, would be the formal evaluations and the informal walkthroughs with the teachers and students and support staff in the school on a daily basis. I focused very intentionally on making sure that I connected with everyone. I conducted a review, back to the former slide, thank you. I conducted a review of all of the social media, Lowell yearbooks and publications, any documentation around the school's performance, also the California dashboard, student performance data, all of these consistent meetings with all of the groups that I mentioned earlier, to include the school site council, student association, and the union building committee. Next slide. These are 5 concerns were about the school, and how can I, as the principal, help improve and maintain the tradition of academic excellence. And finally, I asked everyone, what's your role? What do you do here? And how can I support you to be successful in that role? Next slide. So as a result, I came up with the top 20 looking, listening, and learning findings. I want to just let you know that there were approximately 40 to 50 top findings, but there was a lot of crossover, and so I put them into these main categories. I will not read them out to you. We have shared the link to the slide deck. I will just highlight a few of them. The first, which I feel is very important, to honor all the old traditions and build new ones collaboratively with the school community. So folks just wanted me to make sure that I didn't come in and just change everything or anything without getting an understanding of why things are the way they are, and working with the school community stakeholders to create opportunities for new traditions. Just a couple more: visibility and presence of the administration, specifically a principal that you want to see visible and present throughout the day, throughout school community events, etc. And finally, of course, prioritizing safety and supervision regarding all the access points and high traffic on our site. I see a hand raised, but we are not taking questions at this point. We're going to have an opportunity at the end of our presentation. So we will get to you at the end. Next slide, please. Also, providing stable administrative leadership. So in terms of you wanting a principal or an administrative team that's going to be there for an extended period of time because of the number of administrators who have been at the school for the past 3 to 4 to 5 years, you want stability. And then I will just lift up one more, which I heard over and over in my conversations with folks, helping to maintain our status as one of the top 100 schools according to the US News, and of course, as one of the leading, if not the leading, public education school or learning environment in San Francisco. And finally, one more, why did you choose Lowell High School to be principal? You were asking me this one question, and I want to answer that question by simply saying that I have enjoyed being in environments that are stimulating academically, challenging, competitively, to prepare me to be exactly where I am today in my life, in my personal life, in my professional career. So it's environments like Lowell High School that helped me to be able to navigate my journey through educational leadership. And I wanted at this point in my career to end my high school principalship career at Lowell High School. So I'm really glad we found each other, and I'm looking forward to the next several years together growing our school community. Next slide. So these are just some deliverables and outcomes that I shared with many of the stakeholders. Very simply put, we need to collaborate together to make sure that we are offering stellar delivery of curriculum to our students on a daily basis, and that we're aligned to the Common Core standards, and that we are able to sustain our programming through current budget and enrollment projections. And so also a deliverable is the 90th day and beyond actions. Of course, we are well beyond 90 days, my first 90 days, but because of all of the issues surrounding, unfortunately, payroll in our district last semester, I decided to delay this, this presentation to this time now. Next slide. So this is a timeline, 90 days from August of last year when school started on August 17th, all the way through November. We extended it from October to November because of a small pause during my leave. And so January, which was last month, I started reporting findings. And of course, this month, I'm reporting to the school community at large. And we will also, in a few moments, have a chance to see what the way forward is. Next slide. I want to share with you now how we are doing as a school community. So this is just a small glance from our fall semester. This is telling us who our students are. If you want to know who our students are, from where do our students come, the next slide will show that to you. I will not go through all of this. Again, you have the slide deck presentation, so I encourage you to go back and look at this information more closely. So these are the schools that feed into our school. Next slide, please. This is our students by race and ethnicity as reported by the school district. Next. This is grading period 1 data for our students in terms of the number of students with failing grades, disaggregated or reported by race and ethnicity and grade level. Next slide. This is attendance information in terms of the last 3 to 4 to 5 years and the attendance of the ethnic groups within our school community. Next. Also information again on enrollment for our school in terms of the class of 2025, our incoming, at that time, they were rising 9th graders, but now they're rising 10th graders. Next. English language proficiency for our students. This is data here to help you see how our students are doing, our EL students. Next. Also, same information, just reported differently. Next slide. This is information on LPAC progress for grades 9 through 12 again, that you will be able to see how our students are doing. Next. Chronic absenteeism data so that we are able to look at where the opportunities are for us to better support students who are challenged with, for whatever reason, whatever issues might be facing them, causing them not to be able to come to school on a regular basis. We want everyone to be successful. Next. This is data for our students with IEPs. Next. Also, we are sharing data with you in terms of students, the percentage of students with Ds and Fs in our English language arts and math classes for all grades. And this is a 3-year comparison. Again, I will not share this specific numbers. I just want to point this out so that you might go back at your leisure and review this. Next. Also, SBAC performance data for ELA grade 11. Next. Also, we have math data for grade 11 as well. Next. And the percentage of students with GPAs that are greater than or equal to 3.33 as of spring of 2022. That was last year this time. So once we have the data for spring of 2023, we will be sharing that at the beginning of the school year and next year's Lowell State of Affairs address, as we do plan for this to be an annual event. Next. Also, again, percentage of students with GPAs greater than or equal to 3.33 by ethnicity. Next. Same information, students with IEPs. Next. And also students with English proficiency. Next slide. Reading inventory grades or reading inventory data for grades 9, 10, and 11. So you will be able to find this information helpful as well. Next. This is specific information on our fall semester data in terms of our demographics, the students that we are serving. That's the information there you might see on your own time. Next. Also, this breaks up the demographics into grade levels so that you can see how that fares with our population. Next slide. Percentage or count of students with failing grades by race and ethnicity. Again, we are very intentional about making sure that all of our students are successful. And so we pay close attention to this information in order to know what levels of support we might offer.
What's going on?
Next slide. This is information regarding excused and unexcused absences for the fall of 2022. Next. And finally, I would like to shift our attention to the Strategic Plan 2025, which is a 3-year plan in terms of the way forward. So based upon our looking, listening, and learning during our first 90 days or our entry plan, as I mentioned earlier, we now are moving forward with a strategic plan that addresses 5 major areas of development. The first, collaboration. The second, professionalism. The third, instructional development. The fourth, collegiality. And the fifth, support. So based on our timeline, there's a 3-year completion expectation by March 1st, 2025. We will engage our school community in a comprehensive review of the 3-year strategic plan on May 1st, 2025, and then we will report out to the school community before school ends in June of 2025. So please be paying attention to the principal's newsletter, any communications that come out from the PTSA or Alumni Association regarding opportunities to participate in the growth of our school. I'd like to pause now to give our interpreters an opportunity to catch up. And there's a transition with our ASL interpreters. Once again, we thank you for your presence here tonight to make sure that all of our school community members are having their needs met. Next slide. Collaboration, very simply put, it's going to take all of us to address the continuous improvement of our school community. And so I am committed to continue to look, listen, and learn, as well as working with all of the stakeholders that were listed earlier in the entry plan, and again, are listed here. One of the ways to continue the collaboration would be through platforms such as this, virtual meetings in addition to in-person meetings, so that everyone in our school community has the opportunity to be plugged in. Creating and publishing an event calendar, working with our public relations manager, weekly updates via the newsletter that our school community members should be receiving every Friday when I send that information out. And of course, improving our teaching and learning practices through professional development, not just for our teachers and students, but parents as well who support their students. Next slide. These are also further ways to collaborate with the school community. We do have principals' expectations for the faculty. One of the areas that we feel we can grow and make sure the expectations are clear for anyone who decides to join themselves with our school community of excellence is to create a community agreement for all students, create a community agreement also for all parents that goes hand in hand with the expectations of the principal with the faculty. We are looking forward to many of you participating in that process. So essentially, whenever someone joins our school community, they would be receiving an agreement around expectations to support the success of their child or your student for the 4 years that they are at Lowell High School. Next. Instructional development speaks for itself. There are many opportunities and many ways for us to improve learning, and this speaks to that. Next slide. Collegiality, I talked about this earlier. Many of you perhaps have seen the Joy Wagon Wednesday posts on the principal's Instagram page. Thanks for all of you who are following me. It's very important for us to tell our story through the eyes of those of us who are living the experience day to day on our campus. And so we're trying to share lots of highlights to show gratitude and appreciation for all of the wonderful things that are happening with our students and staff alike, and even our parents. Next slide. Support. So we have learned that there is a opportunity to close some gaps between the school stakeholders and community members. And one of the ways we feel we can do that is by giving the students more agency and a voice. And we created already, as you see here, the Principals Advisory Council, which is comprised of our student leaders who meet with me on a monthly basis to discuss any concerns they have about our school community and making decisions that impact them. Also, we have decided to work with a director of student activities to help us with our Lowell Student Association and student leadership, helping them to build their capacity for growth, and also working with our admin council and union building committee to improve working conditions of our teachers. We want to retain our teachers, and we want to make sure that there are opportunities for us to continue this legacy of academic excellence. It's a pleasure working with you all, and I'm looking forward to the great work we will continue to do together.